Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Tierra and I'm here with another social work related video. I constantly get questions on my Instagram on the topic of social work. So I'm like, how can I answer all of these people's questions without like typing in my DMs all day? Because a lot of the questions require such a lengthy answer that I'm not able to like respond to someone one-on-one. So I'm going to hop right into this video. I'm just going to go ahead and answer some questions. Let me give a disclaimer before I do so. I haven't been out of social work for a long time. I still feel like I'm doing social work with my business. You guys have probably already seen that video. I know a lot of people see my other video and I don't think they like get updated to where I am with the whole social work thing. But I'm gonna turn my little entrepreneur mindset off for a second just to answer you guys' questions, because I was at a place that you guys are at right now. So I know exactly how it feels to feel lost and not know what your next step is. So hopefully I can answer that without being biased to where I am in my life right now, I guess. So the reason why it's like difficult for me to respond to questions on Instagram is, one, most of these questions require a long response. So it's hard for me to answer someone's question like by typing on Instagram, because Instagram doesn't even allow you to give a long response of like, okay, this message is too long. That's one. Two, I am constantly using my social media platform to work my business. So a lot of times like I'll say, okay, I'll get back to that question, but I never get a chance to because I'm so busy calling and texting and contacting people who are interested in my business. So some of those questions go on the back burner, but I want to be able to help you guys too. So that's why I said, okay, I'm just gonna stop everything and do a video relevant to social work. And yeah, and I know some people ask for like one-on-one like calls or consultations regarding social work. I can do that, but now that I have Taylor home and I'm also trying to master like working my business with her being... Y'all hear her? Hi, Taylor. Hi, Taylor, this is not a vlog. I'm trying to master my business with her being home. My business is my breadwinner. Like, that is what is putting food on the table, in addition to CJ jobs, of course. But that is my 9 to 5. Like, that's my job. So I'm trying to balance everything and make sure that I am not straying away from, I'm not straying away in doing things that are not income producing activities when I don't want to end up going back to my 9 to 5. So I have to be very conscious of what I spend my time doing. So I'm just gonna jump into the first question. This one was like the most organized one. She had like 1, 2, 3. So her Instagram name is foreverloved139. So her first question is, how do you know if the social work field is the right fit? I'm gonna stop there. Okay, so how did I know? These questions are so like broad, it's like difficult to just give like a one answer. How do I know that the social work field is a good fit? I did not know that the social work field was a good fit for me. I just knew that I wanted to help others. I knew I didn't want to be a nurse. Sorry. I knew I didn't want to be a nurse. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. So the other field that I wanted to work with kind of was children. So I knew that, okay, I could do child psychology. And I know a lot of people go to, or not a lot of students go to college saying, I want to become a child psychologist. And it's like, I didn't understand at that time that, okay, what do you want to do? Because child psychologist is not like a real job. It's something that is encompassed within a job, but it's not like a job. Like, you're not going to get a salary as a child psychologist. You'll get a salary as a therapist that provides child psychology, or as a school psychologist that obviously works with children, or as a in-home counselor who counsels children. So the job isn't child psychologist. You just want to be in the human service field working with children. So I did not know where I wanted to be, but I will say, so as a social worker, you're gonna have to be a very selfless person, and this is why. You're gonna be constantly dealing with people with problems. So problems can range all the way from someone moving to a new town and them not knowing, having friends in this area, them missing their hometown, all the way to someone who's been through an extreme traumatic experience, like losing their home to a fire, or dealing with sexual abuse or physical abuse from like a parent or family member, or something else, seeing their parents commit suicide or something like that. So it can be very trying on you. So you have to a lot of times put your emotions like all the way to the left to help these people deal with their problems. So it's kind of it is a lot on you, which is why they preach about burnout in the field so much, because it can be very difficult for people to handle. How do you know if it's a good fit for you? Another thing, you're gonna have to put your pride to the side, because a lot of times in different jobs with social work, you are not appreciated in your role, depending on what your role is. Like even as like a foster care social work, there could be a guardian ad litem that comes in and they really don't appreciate your role because they feel like you're not providing the best care for their client. Even when the child is in foster care, sometimes their parents do not appreciate your role as a social worker. People have a negative stigma towards social workers, so they automatically think of them in a negative light. When they hear the term, like when they hear that you're a social worker, they may automatically put you in the corner with the people who snatch children out of your home. So although you mean like 100% well, they don't care. They look at you as the negative person, the person who's always supposed to do the bad work. So even when I worked within the school system, I would have people say things like, oh, well, I don't want to touch that situation because I don't want the parents to get mad at me, so you can do it. Basically implying that, oh, parents dislike social workers anyway, so just go ahead and put yourself out there and be hated by the parent because that's your role. And it's like, no, my role is to help the family and build a solid relationship with the family just as much as yours is. So yeah, that is something that I always felt within the social work field. What else? If you're okay with hearing people's problems all day, every day, constantly problem solving someone else's problems, then social work is the field for you. It became so, like, I guess for me, I constantly felt like I needed to move to a different job within the field of social work because it became so trying. Every job I felt like I was giving these tips, I'm giving these goals, I'm pushing, I'm giving my like 100% all to these clients of mine, and at the end of the day, you can say whatever the heck you want to say to push somebody in the right direction and encourage them and to help to change their life, but if they don't want to change within themselves, then they're not going to do it, point blank, period. Like, you cannot make anyone change. So it was hard for me to realize that because I am such a problem or a solution focused person. I guess I'm solution focused. Like, I want to come up with a solution and I want you to do this because this is the best way to get out of your situation. And a lot of times those kids and even adults, they're not going for that. They're so stuck in their way. They're so stuck in the way they're brought up in their own world that they don't get it. So social work is also a field for you if you are okay with constantly advocating not only for others but for yourself. So you're gonna have to show up and tell people who you are and what your role is, and you're gonna have to demand respect because a lot of people, like I said, they're not respected, and that's on a client level as well as with other professionals. You're going to have to advocate for your clients as well. So advocacy, selfless, putting your pride to the side and attempting to help people and change their lives and stuff like that, knowing that I guess it's gonna be up to them in the end to do anything to change their life, then social work is a field for you. So those are like 4 things that I think are directly related to social work that can help you decide, like, can I do this? Okay, so her next question was, do you know how to access scholarships for grad school? So I believe that a lot of grad schools, they do, like, what is it called? Fellowships. So with fellowships, you're gonna teach a class or work as a teacher assistant or something like that, and then, or do research, and then in return, they're gonna help you pay for your classes. Or you can do like work in like the student commons or something like that, and they'll pay for your classes. But as you guys know, there are scholarships out there. Google is your best friend. If you literally go to Google and type in grad school scholarships, there's so many pages. But of course, you have to be willing to write those papers, to submit them on time, get any recommendations that you need in order to get the scholarship. So I don't know of any that are simple, easy, that you're able to work toward, but I highly suggest, being in the place that I am now and looking back at that debt, I highly suggest that if you had time to sit down and write a scholarship or write a personal statement, definitely do it, because you don't want to have to pay that debt back after you get out of school, especially seeing that social workers do not make that much money. That was something, and I'm saying that because it was something that was said to me, and in my head, when it was said to me my first day of grad school, y'all. The first day I walked into grad school, someone said, y'all know we don't make much, so, like, in a joking manner, and I'm like, whatever, like, they ain't gonna be my life. Like, I didn't came thus far, I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna do well in life. But it is the truth, guys. You probably will not make half of what you spent to get your degrees. So you definitely want to make sure that you are applying to get any scholarships that are out there, based on your grade, based on whether you're left-handed, right-handed, based on where you're from, based on you being a minority. So yeah, that's my tip. Did you love being a social worker? I did, like, y'all, I love my clients so much. Like, I can, like, tear up right now. I love my clients so much. Like, it really, I felt like they were my children, like, for real. Especially when I worked in foster care. Like, I wanted the best for them always. But like I said, it's so trying. I'm about to cry, like, oh my gosh, I'm such a crybaby. It's so trying on you guys when you are, like, literally pouring all that you can into people to better their life, and they're still making their decisions because they have no idea. Like, all they know is how they came up. All they know is where they came from, the hood they came from, the fact that their parents never finished high school or college or anything like that. So they don't really have their goals. Their goals only go but so far. So you're trying to give them every single thing that you can to be successful in life, and a lot of times they're not receptive. So yes, I did love working with them babies because they're just kids. They're sweet, you know what I'm saying? They had their moments, like, whoo, they had their moments. But I really did enjoy working with them. As a school social worker, I really love that position. Although I was not working with the children, although I was not working with the children as much, I was working with the parents a lot. So I was doing I was doing the sociological, so learning about their social, emotional, educational, medical history from the parents' point of view instead of from the kids' point of view. I mean, I could have got the kids' point of view, but I worked with, like, elementary kids, so they probably like, what? Emotional what? Like, they don't get it. But if I work with, like, high school kids, I could definitely, like, interview them and find out how they felt about different parts of the sociological to give the team that point of view. So I really enjoyed doing that. However, I can say there were still times that I felt like my voice didn't matter as a social worker, even though I knew things that they were doing within the school system to oppress the students or to kind of make it difficult for these students to become successful in life. I felt like I really didn't have a voice. I could preach until I was hoarse, and people would, like, they're so stuck in their way, or the school years go by so fast they don't have time to stop to take heed and to make changes within one school year. So it takes time. And as that time is moving on, these kids are falling behind. So one issue that I saw, Taylor, what'd I say? One issue that I really tried to address as a school social worker was the truancy. That like just blew my mind, like kids missing so much school and not much being done about it. So yeah, that was that. Did I enjoy being a therapist? I did not like being a therapist, and I'm gonna say this because one, I did not have the experience that I felt like I needed to be a therapist. Now, of course, with anything, like you really, I could have taught myself how to be an amazing therapist, but I would have felt more comfortable if the person I did outpatient therapy under would have like taken me under his wing and like just allowed me to sit in on one session just to see like how you go about doing things. I feel like I was just thrown in there, and it was so hard for me to sit in a room with somebody for 45 minutes to an hour and just talk about their problems, and you're giving solutions. I told you I'm a solution focused person. You're giving possible solutions. You're asking questions, and every single thing you throw at them to try to help their situation is like a rebuttal. Like it's just like, it's like they come like, let me think of every possible way that whatever this person say, I can make it wrong. So I really did not like doing therapy, outpatient therapy, and that is literally what I went to school for social work for. So when I learned that that was not the thing for me, it was like, okay, what the heck am I gonna do now? Because that was like my thing, like that was supposed to be my thing. That was what I was gonna get my license for. So it's crazy how things change. So that was that. So I guess I'll answer all of your questions. On to the next one. This person's Instagram is mcart_. So I came across you while doing research on YouTube and found one of your videos regarding social work. I looked you up on Instagram and saw that you went to VCU, where I'm hoping to get into their master's program of social work, and also saw that you know a few people from my hometown that sell It Works. So I had to reach out to you, LOL. I'm a senior at JMU majoring in communication sciences and disorders with a double minor in family studies and exceptional education. Any advice to someone hoping to be a future social worker in the school system? I kind of went over that in the last question. My only advice to you is to hopefully you have gotten an internship within the school system, so you'll kind of know what you are getting yourself into. I know on the bachelor level, a lot of schools don't do internships, but if you do get into the VCU program, you will have the opportunity to do a school-based internship. So you can kind of experience school social work before you actually commit to doing it. My internships was one in the school and then one as a hospice worker. I just had to try everything, y'all. Like I was literally like, let me try the hospice, let me try this group home, let me try, like I literally got experience everywhere as a social worker. When I felt that this wasn't for me, like being in the field wasn't for me, I think I was pretty sure about the decision I was making. So my advice to you is to make sure that is what you want to do. And if you love it, then get those connections with the directors within the school system, the principals, and even the teachers, so that you will be able to go in and implement interventions, therapy sessions, or counseling sessions during lunch or something like that, or maybe even after school with the children, so you can really leave an imprint at the school that you're working at. A lot of that is determined by the school district, and that was something I did not know. So school social work for one district may look completely different than school social work for another district. The district that I worked in as a school social worker, we only had 3 social workers, and then we had 3 schools each. Other school districts that are bigger, they may have like 20 plus social workers or 100 social workers, and they may be at one school all day every day with the office in the school. My office was at the school board office. Again, some school districts don't even have social workers, period, because they feel like their kids don't need social workers. So just know where you want to work, do some research to find out what school district is best for you. I actually love the school district that I was working in. So yeah, I really can't see myself working for any other school district or going back, because yeah, I just don't see it. So that is my advice to you. Good luck. And I hope you get into VCU. It's a really good program. And then the next question is, I applied for the MSW program. Other than social work, what can I do with this degree if I choose not to be a social worker? Thanks. Okay, so social worker is such a broad field, y'all. Like, you can literally do anything. I told you I worked in group homes. I worked in the school system. I worked, you can become an adjunct professor. You could teach. I worked in foster care. You can have your own nonprofit company. You can do outpatient therapy. You can do inpatient therapy. You can do in-home therapy. You can do community-based therapy. So there's so many jobs that you can get. You can work with families dealing with grief, like in a funeral home. If they offer the job, you can make your own job. And I say all that to say, that is why I feel like I'm still doing social work, because we were always taught that if the job that you're doing is not the ideal job for you in social work, that does not mean that social work isn't for you, because literally every single job out there requires some ounce of social work, just like every job requires some ounce of leadership. So yeah, I think that whatever you want to do, you can do. You can also do, there's something called here in Virginia, it's called CASA. And I think those people work with families who are dealing with the court system or something like that. So you can even have a taste of dealing with the court system. I don't know what the salaries look like for each of those jobs. I think medical social workers make like the most money in the field. So depending on what your goal is, if you're worried about, some people ain't worried about income. If you're not worried about income, it's totally fine. But I have debt, I have a child, I want a future. So that was something I was concerned about. And I, yeah, so I feel that this business that I'm doing is another form of social work, and I love what I'm doing because I get to choose my income. You can do anything with social work. It's just about you stepping up as a leader and telling people what you're gonna do and trying to make a job for yourself. Another thing, you can do like the macro side of social work, so you don't have to work with people directly. You can do a lot of the grant writing, or you can like literally build programs. You can do audits, so you could be the person who goes in and audits the paperwork to make sure that everything on paper is correct, but you're not necessarily working with people directly. The only thing with that is you may have to work with people directly first to get that experience, so that when you see stuff on paper, you understand what it should look like. So it could take time for you to get there. That could be, for me, I felt like when it was time for me to like audit my charts and stuff, Taylor's cracking up. When it was time for me to audit my charts and stuff, that was like so boring to me. So yeah, a lot of paperwork also. The next question is, hi, I'm a junior at Alabama A&M majoring in social work. So I'm conflicted because I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I'm scheduled to take the LSAT in February. But now I'm realizing if I get my law degree, I won't practice law. My overall goal is being an advocate and working on the macro level. I'm curious as to what kind of jobs and salary outlook I would be looking at if I decided to get my MPH MSW instead, and or have you met or worked with anyone with those credentials? Okay, so what kind of jobs and salaries would I be looking at? Okay, so I don't think I've worked with anyone with the MPH. but the salaries can look different for any job within social work, but most of them land within the 30s and the 40s. You may get into the 50s if you are working in the medical field. It's very easy to look up salaries for different jobs. You can go directly to Google, and I'll do that right now. So let's see. You can look up MPH salary, and it'll come right up. Yeah, okay, let me say this. So salaries for one state may look different than salaries for other states. So you never know. Also, when you're looking for jobs and stuff like that, most of those salaries are based on people with experience. For an example, when I went for my school social work job, the salary range for that job was probably like $40,000 all the way up to probably like $78,000 a year. So of course, me looking at that degree, me looking at that job description and the range, I'm like, okay, one, I have experience. Two, I have a master's degree, and I have my EDS. So I was thinking or assuming that I would be on the upper end of that scale. A lot of times that is based on experience. So if you've been in the daggone field for 25 years, you're gonna be closer to 70-some thousand, because whatever school system or whatever job you're currently working in, you're at that point anyway. So they would have to kind of build your way. They would have to bring you in where you were. But if your current job that you're at is not paying you any more than $50,000, they're not going to bring you in at 78, because they know that you will be content with an extra 3,000, if that, like an extra 1,500 you will probably be content with. So a lot of jobs take that into consideration. Another thing that I have learned and I have experienced, not only for myself but like my line sisters, my friends and stuff like that, having like a dual degree at the bachelor level or at the master's level, sometimes, y'all, it really doesn't matter. Like, sometimes you'll walk into an interview and you'll say like, okay, I have a master's degree, I also have an EDS, I have a master's degree in social work, I also have a master's degree in law, and they're like, okay, and can you do this? Like, sometimes they really do not care. Like, they don't care at all. Like, you have to think, those people interviewing you, they may not have a master's degree at all. They may have a bachelor's degree. They've just been there as long as I don't know what, and they know that you're not going to come in making what they're making because they've been there so long. So it's a lot of little things that go into play when salaries are decided. So just Googling that right up, that's a master's in public health. It says the overall average salary for a person with a MPH is $68,000. Okay. Now, keep in mind, y'all, that is people who've been working for 30 years, all the way to the person who just graduated yesterday. So that they're taking into consideration the range of people working within that field, not just entry level. So you can even Google that, MPH entry level salary. Okay, so when I Googled that, several jobs come up. So I guess it's dependent on where you start working. So I'm just gonna show you guys what I know. My charger's on life support, but like, look at that. So those are the different jobs, the different salaries, and like I'm telling you, Google is your best friend. Like, it's your best friend. So let's look up, and I can honestly say that going to get my master's degree helped me to utilize Google as much, because I was not, and being an entrepreneur, I was not like big on researching things prior to getting those degrees. More so my EDS than my master's degree. So let's look up MSW salary. Again, what is the average annual salary for social worker MSW? It says the median annual social work salary is $61,140. Now, I know that most people working within my field is not making that much. Not in Virginia. Like, I know that. As of September 27, 2017, with a range usually between $55,000 to $67,000. Y'all, no. So Google, I feel like Google is a little stretched. They're stretching it a lot. That's just my personal opinion. Like, for Virginia, I feel like they're stretching it. So let's look up MSW entry level. An entry-level social worker earns an average salary of $42,000. I feel like that is spot on. $42,000 per year. I feel like that's spot on. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. So keep in mind when you are Googling these salaries and stuff like that, and this is for any field out there, they're gonna give you a range of people who or an average based on people who've been in the field for 2 seconds all the way up to people who've been in the field for 30 years. Okay, so that average is going to be a little skewed depending on how many people are in the field. So that is my take on that. Yeah, I can't give much information on that. All I can say is if you want to go to law school, go to law school. Like, go for it, get that law degree and do some law. Get your own law firm, girl. Because again, when you're working for somebody else, y'all, people are going to choose your income. When you have your own, you can choose what you want to make. You can choose what you want to do, how you want to do it, what time you want to show up. So you have the freedom when it is your own. And how you're gonna do that, you're gonna use the salary that you're getting to fund whatever ideas you have to do on your own, if that makes sense. So whatever business ventures you have up here, use the salary that you're getting from working for someone else to go toward those ideas you have up here. So she said, could you explain your experience in the various settings you worked in, like school, clinical, etc., and the pros and cons of each? And can you talk about your experiences getting your MSW and working full-time if you did? Whew, okay. So let's start with the second question. Me getting my MSW and working full-time. So when I got my MSW, I did not work full-time because I could not work full-time. I had to work, I had an internship. The first year, I think I had to do like 17 hours a week. And then the second year, I think I had to do like 21 hours a week. We all know that most people work 40 hours a week. So it was kind of impossible for me to do both of those and work full time. So I think with my second year, when I was doing the 21 hours per week for my internship, I worked about 30 something hours a week at a job. So again, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be able to find that job that is willing to let you pick your hours. And for me, it was a TDT, so therapeutic day treatment program. It was after school for the kids, and I would go there, and basically because I worked so well, they were willing to let me choose my hours and come in Wednesday through Friday only. Now, it did come a time that they were like, okay, we need someone to be here on Monday and Tuesday. What did I do? I'm in a whole MSW program. I know people who need jobs. So I told them one of my friends needed a job, and I got her a job. So she started coming in on Monday and Tuesday, and then I would come in Wednesday to Friday. So it was like the perfect match of we both getting paid, we both happy. It fit our schedule. So yeah, that's kind of how we did that. I could not have worked full time, I don't think, with the papers and everything and stuff that I had to do. I did enjoy my MSW program. It was a lot of paper writing. We did not have any tests at VCU. We only wrote papers. So it did teach me a lot of critical thinking skills. It taught me how to write professionally. And then it was a lot of like hands-on experience, research and stuff like that. So that was my experience with that. And then she asked about my experience in the various settings that I've worked in. Oh my gosh. I think that's a whole nother video. Like, I'm gonna have to do a whole nother video because the pros and cons, she wants to know the pros and cons, and I think I'm gonna have to go deep. Like, I might have to like jot down some notes to remember everything because I've had various jobs. I would have to like sit down and come up with the organized answer. I can't just answer that just straight up in this video. And I think this video is pretty long. So if you guys are interested in seeing part 2, of this video, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Also share this video if you have friends, you're a social worker, you have friends who want to see this. Make sure you're sharing the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like videos like this, and if you have questions that I can include in the next video about the different experiences I had in the field, definitely leave your questions below and I will incorporate your questions in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.